when you meet your soulmate, you know. And I never believed this. I thought ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. You just because I never, because I never met him before. तो मुझे लगता था नहीं soulmate वगैरह कुछ नहीं होता है. God does not make boys like him anymore. He was so chivalrous, so well mannered, and so wise. As a matter of fact, was such a sweet surprise. क्योंकि I'm a big Salman Khan fan, and
Oh, you are. Yeah.
yes, I'm that person. मेरे लिए सनम तेरी कसम हम दिल दे चुके सनम. Something that I've watched 100 times, over 100 times. I cried in the cinema.
Recently or in the last 4 or 5 years.
No, I don't think I can watch Sanam Teri Kasam again. My husband was telling me this last night. He said, Mawra, the more I'm getting to know you, the more I understand now why you cry in movies.
Hello, Mawra. Firstly, a huge welcome to India today. I mean, I've seen all your interviews so far where you have said that you feel it's surreal, the kind of reception that Sanam Teri Kasam is getting right now. But I want to know, I mean, after speaking to all of us and kind of understanding that there's so much love that you receive in India even today, just that feeling, can you put it in words?
I mean, it's hard to put it in words, but I can try. Um, it's so strange that people ask me this question now after 9 years of my film's release, क्योंकि मुझे all these years ये प्यार मिल रहा था.
Hmm.
Whenever I would post something about a drama I would do here or a film I would do here, मेरे हर पोस्ट के नीचे सबसे ज्यादा कमेंट्स होते थे I have watched सनम तेरी कसम this many times, that many times. तो मुझे ऐसे लगा कि मुझे प्यार मिलता रहा है. डिफरेंस ये है कि अब वो प्यार दुनिया देख पा रही है क्योंकि वो
Hmm.
एक्सपोनेंशियली बढ़ गया है और वो
Hmm.
नंबर्स में कन्वर्ट हो गया है. सो नाउ इट्स आउट देयर फॉर द वर्ल्ड टू सी. बट ऑल दीज इयर्स मुझे जितना प्यार और जितनी अप्रिसिएशन मिलती थी फॉर सनम तेरी कसम, मुझे तब भी यकीन नहीं आता था कि why is someone watching the movie for the 500th time, and it used to सरप्राइज मी क्योंकि एक्चुअली इतनी ज्यादा सैड फिल्म है. और जब मैं जो पाकिस्तान में प्रीमियर हुआ था, आई रिमेम्बर माय सिस्टर वाज सिटिंग नेक्स्ट टू मी एंड शी वाज क्राइंग. एंड इवन ऑल द डायरेक्टर्स एंड एक्टर्स हु अटेंडेड द प्रीमियर, सब लोग बड़ा प्रॉपरली आए ना उसके ऊपर प्रीमियर पे कि हाय मावरा ऑल द बेस्ट ये वो. एंड देन इंटरवल में they're sobbing. And जब फिल्म खत्म हुई, तो because I die in the film, everybody would come and hug me so tight and say Allah लंबी जिंदगी दे, because they watched me die. They all just broke down. And my sister was
Yeah.
like, this is not fair, why are you making me watch this? And she was sitting right next to me. I said, I'm right here. But जब कोई कहता था हमने इतनी बार देखी है, मैं सोचती थी ये लोग कितना रोते होंगे. And a lot of people would meet me on my sets and they would tell me हमने परसों आपकी फिल्म देखी है, हम इतना रोए. तो मुझे एक मतलब मुझे all these years प्यार और feedback continuously मिल रहा था. But of course, I'm so happy for my producer that the pyar has now turned into numbers. That for me is the most important thing right now. क्योंकि दीपक जी ने जितने प्यार से इस फिल्म को प्रोड्यूस किया और जितने प्यार से उन्होंने मुझे मेहमान बुलाया, रखा, ख्याल रखा. और जब फिल्म फेल हुई, आई रिमेम्बर स्पीकिंग टू हिम आफ्टर द वीकेंड एंड द फिल्म डिडंट डू वेल. पहले वीकेंड पर पता चल गया
Hmm.
था. तो मैंने कहा दीपक जी आपको बहुत खराब लग रहा होगा, आई एम सो सॉरी. एंड ही सेड नहीं, ये तो जिंदगी का पार्ट है. ही वाज द ओनली वन स्माइलिंग थ्रू द फेलियर.
Yeah.
तो टुडे व्हेन आई थिंक अबाउट हिम, आई फील वाकई सब्र करने वालों को और अपने नसीब को एक्सेप्ट करने वालों को बहुत अजर मिलता है, चाहे वो कुछ साल बाद मिले, लेकिन मिलता जरूर है फल.
But I think आपके career में you have been your body of work has been testimony to the fact that you have always experimented and you're not afraid of failure in ways. Is that how you even said yes to Sanam Teri Kasam? Because you were like, it's a new thing for you. I mean, it's a new cultural, I mean, new country, new industry in ways. I mean,
जी.
भले ही हमारी लैंग्वेज सेम है लेकिन इंडस्ट्री फिर भी थोड़ी डिफरेंट है. So was that a way to challenge yourself that, okay, let me try this as well? One of the reasons why you perhaps said yes?
Today I feel that I'm not afraid of failures. And yes, I want to experiment. From the last many years, I've tried to touch upon many topics that can also give back to the society. We've done marital rape, domestic abuse,
Yeah.
forced marriages, infertility. Like, I've I've tried with every project we touch upon something
Hmm.
that gives back to the society. But as a 21-year-old, I wasn't thinking. I was just
Hmm.
excited that this is a very exciting role. I was only a few projects old in my own industry. And I just felt very excited that someone watched a drama of mine on Zee Zindagi and they have finalized me for a cast of this film they're producing. So for me,
Yeah.
उस टाइम पे चीज़ों को कॉम्प्रिहेंड करना बड़ा मुश्किल था. मेरे लिए बहुत एक्साइटिंग था कि अच्छा कराची से बॉम्बे की फ्लाइट इज ओनली 45 minutes. Is that how close we live? As a young
Yeah.
person, there are other things that excite you. And then when I was roaming around in Bombay, say I'm going for a haircut, I would see this Bollywood actor. And then I'm doing dance practices, and Saat Wale studio mein, this big Bollywood star is dance practicing. And I used to think, wow, am I living a dream? Like what's going on? ये सब लोग तो मुझे 9XM पे नजर आते थे, अब ये लोग सब सामने घूम रहे हैं.
नजर आ
तो
रहे हैं.
for me it was also a child in a candy store. कि आप Bollywood पे you've grown up and now the entire Bollywood is in front of you. So I think at that time the only thing on my mind was to just grab the opportunity with both hands and just work very hard. The character itself was very exciting क्योंकि उस वक्त में बहुत फीमेल लेड फिल्में बनती नहीं थी. तो जब
Hmm.
मैंने स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ी और मैंने देखा कि मतलब सरू इज लाइक इन एवरी सीन एंड
Yeah.
आई थॉट वाओ लाइक. और क्योंकि यहाँ पाकिस्तान में ड्रामाज आर मोस्टली फीमेल लेड.
Yeah.
तो आई हैड जस्ट finished a drama called Mariam. So it was a title
Hmm.
track that a title serial that I had done. So I thought, wow, मुझे तो बॉलीवुड में भी इतना बड़ा रोल मिल रहा है. That's exciting. And तो बहुत बचपना था और बहुत एक लिमिटेड सोच थी मेरी जिसमें मैं बस एक्साइटेड थी कि मुझे काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है इतने अच्छे स्क्रिप्ट पर. And I just knew that I have to just work very, very hard because so much is, riding on our shoulders as a cast member. एंड डायरेक्टर्स का मेरे में इतना फेथ है कि उन्होंने मुझे ऑडिशन भी नहीं किया. आई आस्क्ड देम,
Hmm.
आई सेड डू यू वांट टू ऑडिशन मी क्योंकि
Yeah.
बस आपने फिल्म में रख लिया मुझे. तो दे सेड नो नो, वी ऑडिशनड ओवर 200 गर्ल्स एंड हमें तो बस एक लड़की चाहिए जो रोते हुए सुंदर दिखती हो और हमने आपका ड्रामा देखा है एंड भी हमारी तरफ से आप ओके हो. तो उसका भी प्रेशर मेरे पर आ गया कि अच्छा अब रोते हुए अच्छा दिखना है.
No, but tell me, was it also an emotionally exhausting film for you? Because, like you said, you're almost crying in every other scene.
जी
Because that was also Saru's way of expressing in ways. Because बचपन में हमेशा उसकी upbringing ऐसी हुई है कि she cannot really raise her voice for most
जी
of the time, right? So I think that was her let go. Everyone needs one, and I think her let go was to just cry. But it can be
या.
emotionally exhausting for an actor to be in that space, mind space all the time. Was it like that for you?
No, absolutely. On a very serious note, it all started off as fun and games, but once I got into the workshops, it was very, very taxing because they would always ask me to tap into something that would make me cry or, kind of try to internalize the character and just
Hmm.
believe in the life that Saru's leading. And initially, it started off as one scene, two scene, but by the end of the film, when I was doing my death scene, I truly believed that I'm dying. And for me,
Hmm.
after I shot the death scene, there was a month of promotions, and I didn't know what to say in the interviews because I had lost my personality completely. And I was somebody who was very
Yeah.
excited कि oh इस channel के लिए interview है उस channel के लिए because you hear all
Hmm.
these names and I remember them asking me कि oh this particular magazine के लिए आपका cover shoot है and I said I don't even know how to do that and they were like why like what's wrong and I
Hmm.
just absolutely didn't know what to say. So most of the times, even in the interviews that I see now, it was my director standing right in front of us telling me what to say. क्योंकि मुझे बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आ रही थी कि once Saru has died, who am I? Because I
Yeah.
thought a part of me, a big part of me has died with Saru. And now I don't know how to interact with people or like greet people. मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था. So I think it did take a humongous emotional toll on me. And
Yeah.
then when I came back to Pakistan, my family, my friends, they were so worried that she stopped speaking. And I didn't know how to come out of that. मुझे सरू से कनेक्शन बनाना सिखाया था मेरे डायरेक्टर्स ने, लेकिन उस
तोड़ना
कनेक्शन को
कैसे नहीं.
तोड़ना कैसे है मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रही थी. And I refused so many serials and projects and I constantly told them कि मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि अब acting कैसे करनी है. And it took me quite some time to kind of
Hmm.
break free from Saru because it was extremely tragic for a young girl to
Yeah.
die because of a terminal sickness. And I used to read a lot on how people feel when they're terminally ill. I would watch so many videos. So I think I got so engrossed into being Saru that I didn't know who Mawra was anymore. But, I would, while I say that, I think it was absolutely gratifying to then find myself again. And
Yeah.
with the film's failure and the heartbreak, I think that maybe the kind of performances I was able to give after Sanam Teri Kasam were also because of the tragedy that I had gone through.
Yeah.
So हर चीज का एंड में कुछ सिल्वर लाइनिंग
अच्छा
होती
तो
है.
होता है. Yeah. I mean, you
जी
always find that one silver lining in
जी
everything
जी
that
जी.
happens. Maybe
Yes.
not in that moment, but after some time passes, I feel like you
जी. Now when
understand
I
why.
look back, I don't think there could be a better learning experience at that age for me than this. And even till today, there are certain, tools and tricks that my directors taught me through the workshops that I use in my,
Yeah.
craft. And I'm absolutely grateful for that.
But you're such a strong-headed woman yourself, like in real life, right? Tell me, when you have to play something like this, where you are, and not just in Sanam Teri Kasam, but also in some of the series where you have played a ductile or a very like damsel in distress, not too many, but a few characters where you
जी.
have played characters like that. How do you prepare your mind to sort of have that belief that you can also? I know you're an actor; it's an art, you can do it. But is there a process? Does it ever take a little bit of time to understand that okay, this is not Mavra, so I don't have to be so outgoing or straightforward with certain things because मेरे साथ ये काफी time होता है. Although you know that okay, this is not you, but when I'm watching a character, I'm like, why is she not doing this? If I was this person, I would have done it. Do you have those conflicts as well?
I do sometimes, but I think that I operate as a director's actor most of the
Hmm.
time. I really absorb my director's energy, and because of that, I'm able to do what I do in a character. But one very beautiful advice that one of my directors gave me when I started off my career was to really read the script as
Hmm.
many times as possible. So, and because I'm a book reader, I know that every time you read a book again, you grasp something new from it. So I
True.
have treated my scripts like the books I read, and sometimes I've even read my scripts over 20 times, just so that
Wow.
whatever is there in the script, I can fully absorb it. And once I'm on set, I'm not thinking about my lines or my script. So I think that one thing really helps. But I think the most important thing for me as an actor is how my directors navigate me through the
Hmm.
process. And I'm always, before a shot, after a shot, just have one eye on my directors. Like if they are satisfied with the shot, then I'm okay with it. I never
Yeah.
want to see the monitor. I never want to see how I've done. I don't even watch my own work. I just want to look at my director. Then if there's a little bit of smile on their face or a tear in an emotional scene, I know that something's happened. And
Yeah.
कुछ acting में ना कुछ science नहीं है. Acting is like magic. कभी हो जाता है और कभी नहीं होता. The
Hmm.
biggest of actors sometimes deliver and sometimes they completely fail. क्योंकि कोई
True.
एक formula नहीं है to perform.
True. True.
You just have to really do it from your heart. Honesty is for me the most important tool, and then everything else just follows like magic. So I
But have you,
always pray before I start a project कि अल्लाह मियाँ please magic हो जाए, इस बार भी magic हो जाए.
और आई थिंक आपके लगभग सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स में मैजिक होता ही है. Mavra, that is true. I mean, anyone can attest what I'm saying. But also, I want to understand this. आपने कहा honesty होनी चाहिए. Honesty is what matters to you. But
जी
sometimes when you're on screen, like you said, when you're too vulnerable, it can take a toll. And this is one lesson that you learned from Sanam Teri Kasam, that
जी
sometimes it can take a humongous emotional toll on you. Was that a
जी.
lesson that you learned and you now are able to detach yourself from your character at a certain point at least?
Um, I think so. I think the art of learning how to disconnect from Saru kind of prepared me for the rest of my life. And the good thing is that now when I'm unable to disconnect, I don't panic about it.
Hmm.
Saru was the first time I got so deep into a character that I thought maybe I'll never come out of this. But then,
Mm.
along the years, I learned that you do come out at some point. So the
Yeah.
idea is to not panic and start prepping for your next. The more you start prepping for your next, or the more time you spend with your family and friends as
Mm.
Mavra, you immediately come back into your own. But the moment you panic, the character
Yeah.
stays longer than you expect.
So have you brought yourself to rewatch the film recently or in the last 4 or 5 years?
No, I don't think I can watch Sanam Teri Kasam again. I remember watching it once more in 2017. I think my friends wanted to watch it with me, so we played it at home. But even that was such a gut-wrenching experience for me. But I think by that time I could watch Saru as Saru and not myself.
Yeah.
But I think uske baad se I never watched it again. And by the time the film reached towards its end, I was like, I'm out. I'm not watching. And I can't. It's too sad. It's too heartbreaking.
No, I can completely understand. Even I can't, let me be very honest because I feel like I sob. You know that sobbing where you can't stop and you
Gee,
feel like there's something really heavy in your chest. You really feel
yeah.
that, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know at what level I'm reacting because I don't even identify with this. But
Gee,
but
my husband was telling me this last night. He said, Mavra, the more I'm getting to know you, the more I understand now why you cry in movies and why while watching something, you get very emotional. I think it also depends on how sensitive you are towards other people. Like,
yeah,
for instance, I loved watching Bajrangi Bhaijaan, but I cried in the cinema. I was
yeah,
sobbing. And I don't want to put myself through that again and again. I loved the movie. It made me very, very sad, but I don't want to go through that again. And
yeah,
I think that is the reason why I watched, say, an Andaz Apna Apna a gazillion times, or like a Welcome, or like, the light
yeah.
movies. Because as much as I cry in sad movies, I laugh a lot in, like the
Real
funny
life, yeah,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah. So वो मुझे मुझे उन्होंने वही मुझे कल कह रहे थे कि you're very very like vulnerable to whatever art you consume, and you immediately start crying. And he said, I don't know how you do that. So I think as an artist, it's important to carry your heart on your sleeve and be
hmm.
completely open to the universe. Something happening next door can make me cry. A story that I hear can make me cry. So I think I'm very open, and I never want to be afraid of my vulnerability. I want to be open so I can perceive my characters better, and I can, perform them with honesty that reaches my audience,
Absolutely.
inshallah.
But is but is there a line that you draw even there? Because like you said, actors are anyway vulnerable on screen. But
Ji.
social media can make them more vulnerable, especially in today's time. I don't know what it is like in Pakistan, but just, sometimes when people comment on your performance, not always are people going to praise it. I'm sure there are times when people are critical.
Ji.
How do
Ji.
you balance that? Because I feel like emotional people get very emotional also about everything.
I know, but I think that's where opinions don't make me cry. You have to be a bit thick-skinned when you are trying to work openly. I can either be an
Hmm.
open artist or an open person to social media. I do what I do on social media as far as it makes me happy. I don't read comments where I see something going a little gray. I stop reading them.
Hmm.
I know where to stop. But having said that, I truly, truly want to thank everybody, because I think that the kind of love I receive in India and in Pakistan, it always tops the criticism I receive or I've
Absolutely.
ever received. So I
Yeah.
want to keep my focus on what's good. Yes, the constructive criticism that I get, I completely absorb it, and I try to make those changes in my craft or in my performances. But the ones that's unnecessary, that I differentiate as noise, and I try to kind of not let it reach my system,
Yeah.
because then I will also close down as an actor. So I
True.
never want to close myself. I want to be sensitive to issues. I want to be sensitive to the world. I want to be sensitive towards my script, to the characters I play.
That also brings me to this because you have not limited yourself to one particular genre when it comes to dramas or films. Be it commercial, be it sensitive issues, be it really critical issues. You've picked up all kinds of projects. As an actor, uh, at what point do you decide that, okay, I am okay picking up different scripts? Because, every script eventually, you don't know what the fate eventually is going to be. It is a risk when you start. It only pays off once it is out. But at that point, how do you decide you want to go ahead with something? Has that process changed?
No, I think that process has always been connected to the script I read. The first time I read the script, I think I know whether I want to do it or not. But I also want to give the credit where it's due. My producer, Momina Dured, who produces most of the work that's come
Hmm.
out of Pakistan, she is also very concerned about what parts I pick. Even if it's
Hmm.
not for her production house, she's always given me good advice as to what kind of work I should be doing. But at the same time, when I read a script and I feel like I don't feel connected to it, I don't do it. I,
Hmm.
I find it very hard to work on something my heart doesn't agree with. So I've never had a plan. I've never thought of what kind of projects I want to do in future. But it's one project at a time. Whatever comes to me, like for instance, when I was doing Jaffa, like you said, कि आपको कभी-कभी लगता है कि why is this girl not reacting the way
Yeah.
I would? But when you touch upon such a sensitive issue like domestic abuse, you have
Yeah.
to understand the trauma of a person who's suffering, and you have to understand the circumstances of the generally the women who suffer domestic abuse and
Yeah.
why they allow it. So I have to be less like myself and more like the women at large who are
Hmm.
tolerating such abuse. So I just feel like whenever I read a script, whether it's issue based or it's absolute entertainer, I just want to feel connected to the girl that I am playing. And I think
Hmm.
my characters have carved my personality and not the other way around. It's when I
Yeah.
play a character and I come out of it, I feel like I'm just a better, more resilient woman, in my
Yeah.
own life. And I think that I can never be enough grateful for, because it's because of my career that I get to be who I am today. And
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely magical.
Absolutely. Can I just appreciate how articulate you are, and just like, I feel a lot of positive energy while talking to you, honestly speaking. Um,
Thank
I
you.
I also want to tell you that I'm sure you already know there's always, ever since the re-release of Sanam Teri Kasam, there's always a chatter about a sequel. I don't know if, I mean, in an alternate universe, because in the previous universe, of course, Saru is no more. But
जी.
if in an alternate universe, Saru survives and she's alive, and if there is a sequel, would you be up for it? And would you be okay being a part of something like that yet again?
Gee, I found out through my producers that Sanam Teri Kasam 2 is being made, and I'll be honest, I haven't been given the script yet, so I cannot comment on how the story would go forward. Um, but I know this much, that if I can be a part of it through the script, I would love to do it. But if I can't be a part of it, what Sanam Teri Kasam's given me so far is more
Yeah.
than my imagination. It's
Hmm.
beyond what I thought a film could give me. And wherever I go, they call me the Keech Meri photo girl. So that for me is more than what I thought a project could give me. And if I can't be a part of STK2, I would just pray that my producers and the entire team succeeds and breaks all records like the way the re-release is breaking. I really pray and hope that they make a great film and that the film does really, really well.
Right? People are already against it. They are like, if Mawra cannot be a part of it, let's not make it. So,
Yeah.
that's
That is very sweet. That is very sweet. But inshallah, once the decision is made, then I will try to convince my audience otherwise.
that's
I will
actually
tell
very
them to
sweet of
give it
you to
love.
say that. That's actually very, very sweet of you to say that. But also, I cannot leave this conversation without talking about your marriage. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My friend recently got married, and I was showing her the clip of Ameer dancing for you on Sergeant Ji Ghar Aaye, because I was like, listen, if your husband doesn't do this, he doesn't deserve you, because this is such a cool way of doing it. Just tell me a bit, how has because I think from whatever I could gauge speaking to you, you are a sensitive, vulnerable lovable person, and someone like that deserves the love that you're already getting in personal life and professionally. But has love played a very important role in shaping your career and your personal life as well in ways?
It definitely has. Amir and I have been friends from quite some time now. We were in law school together, and at that time we did not interact much except for like one or two instances in school. But once we started shooting together on Sabat, I they say that when you meet your soulmate, you know. And I never believed this. I thought ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. You just because I never, because I never met him before, तो मुझे लगता था नहीं soulmate वगैरह कुछ नहीं होता है. और
Hmm.
खुद ही आपको, शायद सोचना पड़ता है who do you want to accept in your life. But when I first few days on Sabat set, and I immediately knew that it's either him or a guy who's exactly like him, because I thought that, God does not make boys like him anymore. He was so chivalrous, so well mannered, and so wise. Like
Hmm.
whenever we'd go onto a scene, the wisdom he would bring and the preparation he would bring to the scene, I would feel very, very impressed by him. But over the years in our friendship, I felt that he had been very, very generous with the kind of ideas he would give me to do with my characters. And, randomly I would call him up and tell him कि ये एक script है और, this is about marital rape, but I don't know what are the laws in our country to do
Hmm.
with that. And क्योंकि वो एक Harvard graduate भी हैं और एक lawyer हैं, उन्होंने practice भी किया हुआ है,
Hmm.
so he would immediately help me with what kind of laws we have, and I would want to incorporate that into my scenes. And other than that, also like with decision making, he's been such a big cheerleader for me. And I think that somehow then, got evolved into what I see as love today. And I
Yeah.
think lending each other unconditional support and accepting people for who they truly are is what makes you the love of
Yeah.
someone's life. And like I said, that he was actually appreciating me yesterday for being so vulnerable. And I could have met someone who'd tell me, "Oh, you cry too much." But here's this guy. No matter what I do, he claps the hardest for me. And even Sajan Ji Gharai, as a matter of fact, was such a sweet surprise. क्योंकि I'm a big Salman Khan fan, and
Oh, you are. Yeah.
yes, I think I'm that person. मेरे लिए सनम तेरी कसम हम दिल दे चुके सनम है. Something that I've watched 100 times, over 100 times. So when he danced to Sajan Ji Ghar Aaye, I was in absolute shock. I thought it was very, very sweet, and it was a big surprise for me at the wedding.
This is the benchmark. I mean, if someone cannot do this, you should not marry them. That's all I
Yeah, I
have
told
to
him. I
say.
said, "You
But
set the
Mavra,
standards too high."
but Mavra, yeah, he has. I mean, this is a complaint also. You should tell him because, like you
I'll
said,
tell him.
there are no men like them anymore. Like, what do we
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
हम
mashallah,
क्या
that's true.
करें ऐसे अभी है ही नहीं but but I also want to know from you lastly because I think I don't have too much time but I want to know from you if you have a chance to visit India because I know कि दोनों देशों में तो वो आगे पीछे चलता ही रहता है लेकिन as an
जी.
artist if you get an opportunity to visit India anytime soon or in a few years from now would you be up for it and if you get a project here as well again would you be up for it because OTT पे आप कर सकते हैं
जी.
there is other channels where you can do it. So would you be up
जी.
for it?
Honestly, if the script is something I want to do, I never even think twice कि project बन कहाँ रहा है. That for
Hmm.
that is a technical detail that the producers think about, or even the audience doesn't think क्या project कहाँ से आ रहा है. क्योंकि हमारे dramas की जितनी fan following है इंडिया में, it is
Yeah,
beautiful. And
yeah.
मुझे लगता है कि ऑडियंस को भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता और आर्टिस्ट को भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि चीज का मेकर कौन है. मेकर्स को इसलिए फर्क पड़ता है क्योंकि बेचारे उन्होंने सब टेक्निकलिटीज को सॉल्व करना होता है. कोई प्रॉब्लम आ जाए तो उन्हीं के ऊपर सबसे ज्यादा प्रेशर आता है.
Hmm.
बट आई वुड डेफिनेटली लव टू डू any script that I like that comes from whether Pakistan or India. As an artist, I'm just greedy for better scripts, and I
Hmm.
really hope and pray that there is something that gets made in Bombay and I can be there again because I have so many friends there. And there was a dream that I lived as a young person. I would like to go and revisit the places I've been to. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely be up for it if the circumstances allow.
I would love And I hope that circumstances allow, because we would love
इंशाल्लाह.
to have you back here,
जी.
and hopefully see more of you on screen as well. But thank you so much, Mavra, for this time.